no high UNC official met any PDP official.
You don't need the UNC to pass the bill.
This is the worst and they need to go.
Fire burn you, Guardian.
How much more could we tolerate?
You lack the intellect and the competence.
Everywhere else is vaccinating except Trinidad and Tobago.
You cannot pay people money that you owe them.
Almighty God, Creator of the universe and embodiment of divine wisdom and light, we come before you with thanksgiving and praise. May your will be done in our nation as it is in the heavens. Please bless our political leader, party officials, activists, and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Give us the grace to always see good, be good, and do good, and the courage to serve the people. Protect us as we stand against injustice and iniquity, and inspire our endeavors to find the right solutions to the problems that are affecting our fellow citizens. Grant that we may always work together with humility and respect for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of our country. Amen.
Via Facebook. To our cordially invited guests, those who are viewing, our brothers and sisters, nationally and internationally, my vibrant speakers to come, it gives me great pleasure to be the chairperson of this important and interactive virtual meeting tonight. Our topic, True Talk. And when we say True Talk, it's not Mama Guy. We come in live from SWWTU Hall, Ryson Road, Port of Spain, with True Talk. Before I go on, I will just like to convey, on behalf of our political leader, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, our party would like to extend our solidarity with the people of St. Vincent, whose island are faced with an imminent volcanic eruption at La Soufrière. So could we remember them in our prayers together with our political leader. So with no delay, let us carry out this function as our splendid leader would advise us to do: serve the people. And our first server is me, here to welcome each and every one of us to say and mean and be real with what is happening. This is coming from Port of Spain East, Port of Spain South, Laventille East, and Laventille West. We would like to be vibrant and listen. Please take time to hear the things that are affecting our country. With no more delay, let's start off. He's a musician by profession, a construction entrepreneur, a community activist, a former candidate, local government, none other but our first speaker. Put your hands together for our brother, Nigel Kwashi.
Brothers and sisters, good evening all. I would like to thank my party, my political leader, for allowing me the privilege to talk on True Talk this evening in this wonderful hall, SWWTU Hall. I would like to welcome platform speakers who are here. I also would like to say a special good evening to my political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, a leader who is not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity, who cares about the people in our country. I want to reflect back in 2010 to 2015. Then she was Prime Minister, who invite us, who welcome us into our home, the grassroots people, to discuss issues facing Laventille East and challenges in our community. Out of that meeting, we had some projects, 47 projects throughout Laventille East Mova, stretching from Bagatelle and Sawa to Beetham, Phase 5. Pelican Extension, Mary Road, Never Dirty, Alexander Street, Piccadilly. We have 47 projects. Box drain and retaining wall. Laventille East, at that time, between 2010 and 2015, was a hub of activities. Employment was high, unemployment was low. We had criticism from then opposition PNM, saying we have a box drain government. But box drain in Laventille means employment for the people and retaining walls and starter houses, because people said had latrines. We had 12 such projects in Laventille East, Mova. I remember I have a talk show host just the other day on radio talking about in 2010 when she was working in the minister's office. I want to tell that person tonight that is not the truth. We are here tonight to talk the truth because I was in charge of the projects. I went to that said office and asked the goodly lady if they had projects because we didn't want to double up our projects. She went and checked and they had none. No projects. So we mustn't listen to untruth. This is the truth. This is the platform for the truth. So we went on. Mova was, when we left office, we had 5 projects, was about 75% complete. 5 years after this, still the same way. PNM has done nothing. Our community gone back. Infrastructure just stopped. We had the local hardware was receiving from when you get people get contracts, they go to the local hallway in our community. So it was how about things going on there? Now they have nothing. I want to tell people of Laventille, it's time to get up and fight for something good. Nothing going on in Laventille, and we saying that we PNM until we die. Time to get up and fight for what is right. Politics is about making the people happy. That is all politics is about. When they're not happy, then something is wrong. We need to get up. No more lying down and bending down and stooping down. We need to stand up for what is right. Fight. We had so much thing going on in Laventille, up to now nothing else going on. Schools was building, we refurbished centers. Playground we refurbished. At Christmas time, 3-6 buses is a pull up, carry children to the Christmas party. All that done. Laptops was given out. Come on, Laventille, we need to step up. Get in the game. It have hope still. Come together and let's join the great party, UNC, United National Congress. Let's come together and fight. It's a party that believes in the people and try to help the people. Nobody in Laventille can point their finger at me and say nothing has been done between 2010 and 2015 when the People's Partnership was in government. I was there, I was in charge of the projects. We went and find projects, meaningful projects that you can see and touch in and out of Laventille. Why? We want to sit down and let them come and leave it as that. We need to get up and fight and stand up. So I want to say this evening to my people in Laventille, come, let's fight this fight. Let's join with our great party, the UNC, the Rising Sun. It has room in the house of the Rising Sun for everyone. Not just only me fighting or Denise Robinson fighting or Dara Mark fighting. We had to fight the fight. We need people to come on board. We need to fix Laventille. Laventille is a poor, destitute area. It has nothing going on, no activities. Since 2015, you tell me a school a center almost completed, 85%. 5 years, it's still the same way. Community center, still the same way. Laventille people, I'm talking to you. Let's fight. Let's fight for injustice. Let's fight. Fight off corruption. Let's fight for jobs. Let's fight to make our community a better community. We have a leader who's interested in our community. She didn't segregate. It's 47 community projects we're talking about. All under $500,000. Local contractors in the community benefited from such projects. People who had latrine, we fixed their house, 2-bedroom, with toilet and bath, 12 houses between Zimbabwe's to Mova. It could be plenty better than that. And we still have such people living in the area still today like that. So we have a leader that cares. And we have to push our leader, we have to support our leader. I would like, okay, so we have to support our leader and fight for our leader. My name is Nigel Kwashi. As I stand here tonight, I'm a proud UNC. Thank you very much.
Okay, and we're rolling. That was Mr. Nigel Kwashi, Upper Caledonia Malik, and we heard some of the fights and some of the progresses. So let's join the bandwagon. Our second speaker for tonight is none other than a community activist, simple port worker, former candidate for Belmont South, His name is Mr. Eric Blackman.
Yes, let me open by saying a pleasant good evening to one and all. A pleasant good evening, our political leader, and all the rest of speakers who are here to give you their overview as the Port of Spain community continues to fight for East Port of Spain and environs. Brothers and sisters, as I open this evening, I want to say a pleasant good evening once again for all listening who tune in to the World Wide Web. It gives me great pleasure this evening to be part of this True Talk Forum, alongside some of my esteemed colleagues. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, as I don't think I have all that time at my disposal. So first up, I'd like to commend all candidates and activists of the Port of Spain constituencies who have stayed steadfast in the fight for a better quality of lives for all the residents in their burgesses. I want to say thanks for your efforts. As we are all aware, Port of Spain is in the belly of the beast. We know the beast is the PNM. And when you take up a battle against the PNM in the Port of Spain constituency, which is considered their safe states, that's their strongholds, you know, you have to have you have to be resourceful in order to fight the PNM in their stronghold. And that is what we have been doing, my brothers and sisters. However, first we must try to bisect the information so the general public will get a clearer picture as to what we are faced with in the Port of Spain and environs district, my brothers and sisters. After 64 years, which is the years of the PNM in existence, and loyalty of these residents of Laventille that keep them in office over the years, what have we to show in the Port of Spain community, my brothers and sisters, after giving our support and votes to this PNM administration? Well, it's safe for me to say where the PNM safe seats are presently hotspots. We know about hotspots in the country. Those are the PNM safe seats. More of the PNM safe seats in Port of Spain, my brothers and sisters, are the most depressed and oppressed areas in our society. And we could take, I don't have to tell you, you don't have to take my word for it, brothers and sisters. We just have to take a walk about our country and we will see the neglect that has been left by the PNM administration for the loyalty of support that the people from East Port of Spain have been given to them throughout the years. Now, just be patient with me, and I wanted to hear this point that I'm about to make, my brothers and sisters. Right? We in the Port of Spain area have been loyal to the PNM for all these years. What have we to show? Well, so far I know there is nothing. There is no progress. Everything in Port of Spain has deteriorated. So let's look at the city of Port of Spain, the capital city, my brothers and sisters. As we are well aware, the PNM has been in charge of the Port of Spain City Corporation from its inception. Without being hindered, nobody has came to interrupt the PNM who has been in charge of the Port of Spain Corporation. And as we are aware, all over the world, people take great pride in their cities. All over the world you go and the city is almost reflective of the kind of people you expect to meet there. And more recently, my brothers and sisters, if you can recall, our present-day Prime Minister was saying that Queen Street is the toilet of Port of Spain, the same city that the PNM administration, for the first time, is admitting. But I want to tell the goodly Prime Minister, it is not just Jenny Penny Commission Queen Street that is a toilet. Duke Street is a toilet. Abercrombie Street is a toilet. St. Vincent Street is a toilet. All where street dwellers sleep, my brothers and sisters, there are no public facilities for them to use. So when you goodly people would bring that rich food for them, and when the night comes, what do you expect them to do on the side of the road? Maybe the Prime Minister doesn't use the roadway as much as I do, because I am on the streets every day. So I am aware that the neglect, and we must understand, Port of Spain, the capital city, having primary roads, not secondary roads, primary roads. And there is no articulation from the PNM and what the condition of Port of Spain. And for the Prime Minister to admit that there is, for the Prime Minister to admit that Port of Spain is a toilet, and the PNM has been in charge of the Port of Spain City Corporation, surely their performance leaves much to be desired, my brothers and sisters. And if we have to mark the PNM on performance, I would give them a 0 for what we have kept our capital city, my brothers and sisters. That is a no-no. No part of the world you expect your capital. I mean, I passed Henry Street, between Henry Street, Queen Street, yes, Henry Street and Frederick Street. And there it was. It has some potholes like swimming pool, my brothers and sisters. On Sunday, I was coming from work Sunday night, and there were 2 big trucks, a backhoe, on that very set spot, doing some patchworks to the area. And today, if you pass there, don't take my word for it, the potholes and them open back again, big and wide, as where I'm standing here today, my brothers and sisters. And I am saying to you, we can no longer allow the PNM to destroy our beautiful Trinidad and Tobago like that. And it's about time, my brothers and sisters, that we stand up for what is right, we stand up for what is truth, and for what is just in our society. For far too long, we have allowed the People's National Movement to take our votes for granted. And we must now show the PNM that we are no longer going to allow them to manipulate us as they have done before. So imagine the PNM have not dealt with the capital city. And we as a people are waiting for them to come to Sealats, to Beetham, to East Dry River, to Gonzales, to Belmont, and surroundings to fix. So if they cannot fix the city, which is primary for us, would they be able to fix our secondary roads, our slipper drains, our footpaths, our drainage? Water is a problem in the Port of Spain constituency, my brothers and sisters. And I am saying to the people of Laventy and environs, time for us to wake up. Wake up and understand that this is the time for us to come together and fight the good fight. My brothers and sisters, I just wanted to take a little look. When you look in the strongholds of the PNM, my brothers and sisters, what you see? Crime is booming, my brothers and sisters. Again, when you look into the strongholds of the PNM, unemployment is booming, my brothers and sisters. When you look into the strongholds of the PNM, my brothers and sisters, alcohol use and drug use amongst the youths is booming, my brothers and sisters. And if we look elsewhere, Fatty Bully projects for friends, families, and financiers, that too is booming, Madam Chair. And I am saying to you tonight, we on this side will continue to fight the good fight. for a better quality of life for all of the residents of Port of Spain and its environs, including long live the United National Congress, long live our political leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, forward ever, backward never. I thank you.
Wow. All I hear all the booming. Take cover. Because we in the heart of the boom. Our next vibrant speaker, you know the men alone don't tell it all. So we just have the women to put the icing on the cake. A boxing coach, a student at USC, director of a preschool and daycare at Belmont, a former candidate of Belmont East. Let's put our hands together for Miss Lyanna Gonzalez.
Ms. Chairwoman, Madam Chairwoman. Good evening to our political leader, Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, my fellow speakers on the platform, and my brothers and sisters. We welcome you to our virtual meeting here at the SWWTU Hall. And this evening, we would like to address a few issues that are occurring in and out of our community in the electoral district of Belmont East. These issues are as follows. I'm sure you heard them so many times. Severe water shortages, joblessness amongst youths, garbage collection and accessibility to bins, poor infrastructure, that is roads and drainage. As a former UNC candidate for the electoral district of Belmont East, I have identified the inadequate supply of water in our Burgesses as one of the greatest problems facing our community. Mr. Ellis and Ms. David constantly complains to me, who are residents of the Leon Hill, and other residents complain in the Belmont Terrace area. And Mr. Deravano has 4 children and his family and his neighbors. They are always without water. I could go on and on in St. Francois Valley Road, in Bella Road, every time complains about water. Yes, water. Water, an essential, necessary need. 4 to 7 weeks consecutively in our communities, we have no water. I myself live in the area. I have 2 tanks. And if they could run dry, it could tell you how long we stay without water. What about the people who don't have tanks? What about these people? What about the elderly? What about those people who have little babies and children? What about us? If it wasn't for, thank God, if it wasn't for our UNC alderman of Stanwell Lavington, Mr. Nazumul, I could afford to call him for help. And he's always willing, quick on the brush to help us in our community. Why? If he could do that, why Nwassa can't provide enough water for everybody community on a daily basis? Or in a consecutive way. If there's shortage, nobody say I understand water every day, but you could use a time span in which everybody in their communities could get water consecutively each day and every week, so that people can be fulfilled with the needs that they have. This is overbearing, don't you think? People have to cook, people have to wash, people have to see about their little babies and children, the elderly. How can these things happen if these things are not supplied? And this is a necessary need. I reiterate that. It is a necessary need. We are not animals. We are people too. As I will always say, who knows it, feels it. Let's go on. We could talk about roads. Roads are deplorable. Only on election time, you see work being done. And if you get it done, it's halfway. Yes, halfway. People always have to be complaining about the streets. Right now, the streets are littered with holes. Cars could actually fit in a hole if you want to look at it that way. And I'm not exaggerated, because if you go up in Belmont, Chinatown, right now, on the right-hand side to the shop, there's a big hole there. People, cars fitting in there. And it is damaging people's cars, causing expense, and at a time when we have no jobs to provide for these things that we need. The roads are so unkept. There are plenty mains that burst up in that same Chinatown area. So if you're lucky, you get water now and again, because why? People not doing their part. The government is what is responsible for doing these things and ensuring that the people work and function in their different capacities to ensure these things are done, because that's why you ask us to vote for you. Not so? As I reiterate, people complain every day about these problems driving up and down the road, because that is how they make the dollar. The taxi drivers, I speak to them a lot. Only who knows it feels it. I go on to say about jobs. Jobs are worse now with pandemic. No employment opportunity for young men and women. It is at a high crisis in my community. I have young sons, and I have made an effort to be their mentor. I said to my sons, do something, open a car wash, sell something, and speak to the young fellas that they line with. Rather than just sitting liming, smoking, or hanging by the corner, do something, because if you wait on this PNM government, you will get nothing. At least you sure you're making an honest dollar when the day come. Because them in business about how the young people survive. Because right now it's survival to the fittest. I have a nursery and kindergarten. Since March 2020, I had to close my business, as well as my other colleagues in the area who has such a business. Parents have lost their jobs, they have shorter hours. How could you're not putting things in place for these people? Because watch, you say, go to social development and you'll get a little help, or we'll get checks. Foolish myself and my colleague going down there. And up to now, since April last year, waiting on a check. April come and meet April. How can we survive? How can we be able to efficiently provide for our families? All they're telling us is our things are approved and a check can't write up. So it's taking them a whole year to write a check, to give somebody some money to be able to help themselves. What about the other people who hopelessly waiting on these checks and have no other means and income? I say, it makes no sense you're building hope in people and hope and trust in people if you have no kind of organization plan set in place. You're making them more hopeless. Are you going to stay hopeless? Are you going to keep voting for something that's not making any sense, is not doing anything for you, me? Every time it's election is when you hear something that is put in place. When your election done, you want to know what's going on. We are hopeless. We have no hope. The struggle is real. Where's the love for people and their needs? We are one nation without studying creed, race, position, or party. It is about serving each other to the best of our abilities. The same way the government leaders want us to vote and give the best, the same way we expect the best from the government. We are human beings. We need food, shelter, clothing just like themselves. Happy people make a happy nation with satisfied communities. As I reiterate, only who knows it feels it. Garbage still an eyesore. Another topic. Garbage is still an eyesore in our community. Promises and more promises by our lovely Belmont East PNM councillor to put accessible garbage bins in place and have regular collection. Oh yes, this is to avoid, as she says, harmful bacteria and rodents from roaming and bringing unsanitary conditions to our homes and businesses. Yes, I'm waiting to see that. I would truly like to see more bins put in place and pickup points, and the government implementing a road and a pavement wash down to sanitize after garbage is removed from each appointed junction. Now, what, as I say all these things, are our present PNM Council and government doing first? What are they doing for our people who so voting for them? What are they doing to assist the people of Belmont and our nation? Nobody knows the struggles, the feeling of lack of hope. At the end of the day, it's only who knows it, feels it. I thank you.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, nationwide, national and international, who feels it, knows it. Just some information while our next speaker is greasing the wheel to get here. On May the 1st, 2020, right here at this same location, at 7 p.m. sharp, we'll be hosting our procurement assessment bill, which has been piloted by none other than our loving Kamala Prasad Bisesa. She is making sure that this bill be appealed. And with this bill being appealed, then we will know who feeling it and who knowing it. Next on the agenda, a private tutor, charity worker, worker among youths, organizing remedial homework classes, community activist, none other than Raquel Rodriguez.
Excuse the glasses. This is real talk, right? Good night, my brothers and sisters. It is my great pleasure to take part in this virtual meeting of the United National Congress. May I take this opportunity to recognize distinguished or esteemed Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, our political leader of our great party. I have come to bring hope for my community and address a few pressing issues affecting my community, but somehow neglected by the PNM government. My brothers and sisters, we are all aware of the issues confronting our community. Malik, I come from. Mova, Lavantil, hotspot areas. These issues are high crime rates, the plummeting access to education and training, and inexplicably high levels of unemployment. This is pure suffering, my brothers and sisters. And even now, our sanity is being further exploited by the lackadaisical approach towards education and training of our young people in my community. According to the United Nations, education is one of the fundamental human rights of our people. And as such, the government had an inescapable obligation to promote and defend that fundamental human rights. Trinidad and Tobago is in fact a signatory to the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights. Trinidad and Tobago is therefore bound by law to uphold the rights of every child in this country that they have left behind this wicked, uncaring, and insensitive government. Just imagine if you woke up tomorrow and learned that the state is being sued by the children who have been deliberately left behind. This is a real possibility. This government is playing footsie with our children's future. And that's why I am here today. And I would like to emphasize the point that education is the passport to genuine liberation and psychological emancipation. I therefore do not agree with the PNM perpetual dependency model of development for our community. We want to live an independent life free from the shackles of enslavement and oppression. We are seeking to stand on our own 2 feet. We are in fact seeking independence of body, mind, and soul from the shackles of the PNM enslavement and literal bondage. We are deeply concerned that the odds have risen even more against my community, especially with the recent challenges posed in assessing education for all. The decline in education means a consequent rise in crime. So listen when I tell you that education is our only hope of escaping from underdevelopment and oppression. The only way forward is for the meaningful development of our economy and our human resource, which is you, the people. We are fully aware of the colorful adjectives used by the government and their allies in describing our place of abode. In case you were closing your fridge and you did not hear me, I said, we are being labeled as stronghold and hotspot areas, as my colleague Mr. Blackman pointed out earlier. But what has made these areas hotspot? It is criminal neglect by the ruling party for decades. A lack of job opportunity, income inequality, and wealth disparity in our society. How can the brain function without proper nutrition? Such levels of poverty can lead to behavioral problems. I've seen it. Such as the lack of focus, among other things. Imagine this government has abandoned thousands of young people and left them to drift aimlessly without the proper provisioning or the supply of basic electronic devices to access online classes. There's also the absence of food cards, yet the government expects miracles from us. It is true that Jesus was crucified on Easter Sunday. For the people in my community, we have been put on the cross of crucifixion permanently by this wicked PNM government. Yet, They expect miracles to take place. They expect our youths to rise from the dead. This is our story for decades. I am a living example of fight and struggle. So please, take it from me. Sometime earlier this year, the government set up a committee known as the Community Recovery Committee, which was aimed at addressing social ills plaguing our depressed community. This committee came on the heels of the fatal shooting of several young people at the hands of the law enforcement. Where is this report? What are the findings and recommendations of this report? Has it begun to gather dust on the shelves of the Prime Minister's residence? It appears to be musical chairs all over again. How can the youths get a fair shot at success when the government continues to fail to address their pressing needs? How can we address crime and violence in our community when our youths and children are not given a fair chance at success, Mr. Prime Minister? We just cannot go on this way. We need more action and less talk. My brothers and sisters, let's get together and build one another. Let us join in unity and solidarity to develop and build harmonious prosperity for communities, for all communities to benefit. Remember what I told you earlier? Education is the passport to genuine liberation and psychological emancipation. It is the only true path to rid our community from the perpetual dependency. I'll say that again. Perpetual dependency syndrome that has been imposed on our back and shoulders by the oppressive and unenlightened Rowley administration. Our future, or rather, our is the future. And just as the day follows the night, the sun will shine again. Thank you and bless you, my brothers and sisters. And with this same breath, I would like to wish the Prime Minister a speedy COVID-19 recovery. Thank you.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, food for thought. But I just want to add something there. How we could wonder about education when we have a Prime Minister telling people it's better to be a dunce and live than to be educated and die. Which part in the world? The UN didn't hear that part from him. Apparently he said it behind the walls when he went to Tobago. That wasn't my saying, eh? But we continue and we flow in. Pan Tuna, community activist, political activist. I call him my big brother. Former candidate for general election, none other, Rodney Store, Laventille West.
say pleasant good night to my political leader, to my colleagues, and the viewing public. I stand before you saddened, disgruntled, depressed by what my loving community of Laventille West, which is full of great sporting history and rich culture. Since the untimely death of Maurice Marshall in 1994, more than 2 decades ago, Laventille West turned from hero to villain. Through the many years this country had election, Laventille West has been controlled by only PNM MPs. This has created a disaster for our community. Talk about high crime rate, lack of infrastructure, social programs, educational programs, and many more. Nothing to build our community or to strengthen ties with our area. Our non-existent school system has seen 70% of our school children lying on the block because of lack of opportunity. But we're spending thousands of dollars on bus shed that is not important to us right now, not even being used at present. Our current MP for this area is the worst representative ever presented to Laventille West. He have done absolutely nothing to enhance the area. I don't even want to call his name because it brings an anger and frustration. Sir, you signed up to work to represent, please do so. Failure after failure, lies after lies, broken promises. What next? What next you have in your mind to destroy our community? Because we don't see you unless it's election time. This area have gotten any update for how long? No, you does want to stand up in parliament like you is the big representative. Many of them only there for the perks and the money, but they're not there for the hard work that comes with it. Since election, we have not seen you walk through our area that you said you are proud of. The safe seat idea, these areas in our minds, in these areas have to stop. We have been taken for granted. Our vocational schools, Laventille Technology Center, Maurice Marshall Foundation, are non-existent, so to speak. Our 16-year-old age group have nothing to do. No trade, no vocational program. But every month, security fee is being paid, light bill is being paid, utility bills are being paid for these said buildings that they are not doing anything in. That is representation for your money. 64 years of PNM, never losing an election in Laventille. But this is the treatment we get in. Some of the worst roads and street lights you will ever see, but someone once told me, fix Laventille and you will fix Trinidad. Since we are on that topic of education, I had my own experience with how bad the education system really is. Recently, I ventured to one of the secondary schools to collect a package for students who does not have access to online learning. I was informed by the security guard on the compound that I would have to return for the package the following Monday. 3 weeks later, the package still was not ready and available to students, which is beyond disadvantage, which with no access to laptops and devices for learning. the right for an education, and we wonder why they are on the block. I decided to do further inquiries into this matter and to find out that a meeting was not held between the Ministry of Education and the said school to produce these packages. So look at the advantage, the disadvantage. These students have 3 weeks gone into the school term and no packages, and a meeting has not been held to see what or where these students are going after. That is representation for your money. That is spending the big money that we presented to Ministry of Education, that we have no packages to collect for our students. And you wonder why they are on the block. The People's National Movement only see Laventille West as CPEP and URP. They don't see other opportunities that they can create or afford the benefit the people of this area. Although some of the best lawyers, doctors, nurses, servicemen are from this area. They have placed us in a category of hard work and no pay. A pay package that you cannot take to the bank for loans or any financial institution. A pay package that you cannot support your family on. With more than 40 CPEP gangs in Laventille West alone, you do the maths. If we have over 40 CPEP gang, check how much people in Laventille cannot go for a loan. And we wonder why we suffering in Laventille and why they are on the block. Look at simple thing, our employment, as we are on that topic of employment. Look at what is happening at NP and Port Authority in Port of Spain. It's job cuts all around. Sales of these two entities, which is soon to be privatized. These companies have employed more than 80% of people from Laventille and surroundings, where they are now forced with an uncertain future because nobody knows where their pay is coming from. Our constituency is faced with a lot of up and down. 1 minute it's quiet, and next minute is war. Only because when the ministers pass through and give the gang leaders the money to run the gangs, the others want it. So 1 minute is quiet and the next minute is war. So I stand before you. It's time to stop. It's time to stop treating Laventille people as they are the end of the earth. It's time to stand up and get rid of this political virus that we have called the People's National Movement. It's time to stand up and make ourselves known as proud people of Laventille. It's time to stand up and show them we deserve to be in Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, it's time to stand up. With no more delay. She's a little shy, but she's great. Just listen to her. A community activist, a sporting coach, vibrant speaker, Miss Ayanna Andrews.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Chairman, sorry. Sorry. Senator Mark, good evening. Good evening to the leader, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and to my colleagues. I came here to address the situation of people in Belmont, Port of Spain North. On a daily basis, there are children who have no devices to do online schooling. Some parents probably have 4 to 5 children in one home. Some of them have to share laptops, probably tablets, probably the parent's cell phone, which is unfair. I find the ministers or the councillors could go to schools, find out how many children in need of these devices, and try to assist children. There are children who are not online, not because they're just lazy and don't want to wake up and do schoolwork. It's because parents don't even have income to pay an internet bill, or fathers buy a phone card to put up a plan, which is hard. It have parents get sent home because it have no jobs. Parents get fired. Even our next situation with welfare, social development, it have parents cannot receive the grant because of no school report. Schools was closed. It have no principals at schools, no teachers, and because the parents can't get the grant signed, the report signed, sorry, they're not allowed to get the grant, which is parents are suffering, children are suffering, children need to eat, they need clothes. From since 2010 to 2015, the partnership did so much for people in Belmont. There is a place in Belmont called Manda Terrace and Collins Road, where Enforcers Recreation Grounds is. The people in there now become like a little Westmoreland, true to our leader. She gave contracts. Now, this government give nothing. There are a lot of poor people suffering. Manda Terrace get lights, roads, even water coming to the houses. Manda was like a late dirt road, a late dirt track. When you leave in there to go to work or go out, you had to come out with bags on your foot. Now taxis able to drive in. People could walk in, out comfortable. My brothers and sisters, happiness. After all, what is life? Life is about happiness, shelter, food, education, and clothing. If we don't have that, we can't survive. I came here to stand for my brothers and sisters, for Belmont, and not only in Belmont, people of Lavantil. Lavantil East, Lavantil West, Port of Spain North, Port of Spain South. We ask the government to assist the youths, at least open programs. It have youths on the streets suffering, the linemen, because of no jobs. Even when it had the contract in Manda Terrace, a lot of youths was employed. Even though if people could get like box drains done, retaining walls, it would help a lot. It have fathers who get sent home from works, can't come in to help a mom. It had moms who used to receive a grant when they now make a young baby. They stop that because there's another father to assist a mother. A father might leave when the mother belly big and go his way, turn his back. The leader make sure and open a grant so a parent could get at a single mother when she now make a young baby. All that is stop. We people of Laventille needs to put a stop to that. We need to fight for what is right. We cannot be voting for someone who don't care about us. We need to put our vote for the people who care for us. And I believe that Kamala Prasad was a lady that did care for us. She did so much from the time she was there. She represents, as a lady, a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a aunt. I respect Kamala Prasad Bissessa as my leader, and I will always stand at the UNC side. I would like to applaud the speakers before and the ones that come in after. I thank everyone that's here tonight for listening, for true talk, sorry. We have moved from working class to the forgotten class. Thank you very much. Good night.
You all heard that young lady. Many of you was not aware that it's emotion that brought her to the point where she had to stop on many occasions. And it hurts. It hurts. And I don't know about you, if it ain't hurting you, it hurting me. And according to my boxing coach across there, who feels it, knows it. And it is wrong when we are being told to be dance and live than to be educated and die. I just want to tell you something that I adore from my Prime Minister. She will always be my Prime Minister. She will always be my mother, my mentor, from now till they're red and ready, they ain't ready yet. Before that energetic speaker that come in there, let me just give you a few words. To be a knowledgeable based society with global competitive technological device, diversified economy that will sustain employment, growing prosperity, equal opportunity, a secure life, social comfort, and the highest standard of living for all citizens. That is what we got under Kamala Prasad Bissessa. Take it and put it in your pipe and smoke it. Our next speaker, so much to add to his name, but I'll only give you a few. Northwest Regional Coordinator, business entrepreneur, community activist, and the list goes on, but I'll just give you his name, Mr. Eli Zaku.
Thank you, Chairperson. Political Leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bissessa, Senator Wade Mark, my fellow colleagues, and to the viewing and listening pub audience, good night. My brothers and sisters, I want to talk about the decay that pervades the workers' agenda and the private sector businesses in Trinidad and Tobago and its impact on the social instability of our nation. In 2015, the government changed and the PNM came into power. The point leases industry was in full operations and Petrotrin was at a place where it was ready for the next stage of development. There were companies in operation within the non-energy sector that was formed by the People's Partnership for the purposes of encouraging private and public sector interest sharing. Within a year of taking office, the public-private sector, shared interest enterprises, and of course the workers' agenda of Trinidad and Tobago. First, the government, the PNM government, came out and attacked the progress of the ongoing negotiations for natural gas contracts that we had achieved to sustain the energy sector industries. The PNM claimed to the public that the terms being discussed for these contracts were not tenable. There was an immediate fallout, and one of the first major international businesses to pack up and go was ArcelorMittal Point Leases Limited, which was Trinidad and Tobago's primary exporter of iron and steel products. Let me remind you of the fallout. There were approximately 600 workers who were placed on the breadline. Over 2,500 employees of service providers to ArcelorMittal went on the breadline. Due to this, private sector company Central Trinidad Steel Limited, Centrin, which was a downstream steel producer, closed its doors because the supply of raw material from ArcelorMittal was no more. Over 200 workers were terminated. Petrotrin was shut down on November 30th, 2018, along with the country's largest refinery that has been in operation for over 100 years. 5,000 employees were sent home. Workers lost their vehicles, their homes, their children were forced to stop their academic pursuits. Families were broken, livelihoods were lost, and 2 lives were literally lost due to suicide. Yara Trinidad Limited closed Yara Trinidad, which was one of 3 ammonia plants it operates in Point Lisas. The key reason for this closure was due to failed negotiations with the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, NGC, on gas supplies as stated in a press release by the company dated November 13, 2019. Proman Trinidad and Tobago just announced, just this week, it's idling 2 of its methanol plants it operates in Point Lisas, M4 and M5000. Proman's local CEO indicated this was based on the company's inability to secure a viable short-term gas contract for the month of April with NGC. More workers have gone home. The Point Lisas estate is now a ghost town, a relic of what once was. What did we lose as a country? ArcelorMittal was the single largest customer to TNTech, Wassa, NGC, IGL, now Massey Gas, to name a few, and the largest earner of foreign exchange outside the energy sector. Petrotrin made an operating profit of US $250.28 million, or TT 1.67 billion during its last year of existence. Yara Trinidad Limited's ammonia plant, Yara Trinidad, had an annual production capacity of approximately 270,000 tons. Proman Trinidad and Tobago's methanol plants, M4 and M5000, combined had a capacity to produce 2,470,000 metric tons of methanol a year. The PNM government allowed the loss of hundreds of millions of foreign exchange revenue with the departure and downsizing of these non-energy and energy giants. Then they shifted the attack to the local private-public sector partnerships. Carney Green was closed, which was exporting over 1.5 million pounds of pepper. The closure of Petrotrin hangs around the PNM government's neck like a tombstone, but by using PR stunts, blatant lies, and conversations with the Prime Minister, the PNM government has tried and is still trying to convince the population that this tombstone is a medal that the PNM won for the nation. Just look at the trail of destruction to our industries left by this government, and all this began before the pandemic. Added to this, citizens are suffering for jobs businesses are suffering for Forex. The government wants to conveniently blame the pandemic for what we are facing as a country. In 2016, the PNM boasted of being committed to the involvement of the trade unions, businesses, and civil societies in the national decision-making processes. The National Tripartite Advisory Committee proved to be nothing but a gag for all those who were calling for true democracy. The PNM's definition of true democracy is PNM talk, you shut up and listen, and PNM do, you lie down and stay quiet. There's no voice for the working class. The working agenda is dead. The PNM is wielding Forex as a whip on businesses, and citizens are living in fear of losing their jobs. While other Caribbean governments are finding ways for evolving and adapting their economy to meet the existence of this pandemic-induced conditions, the PNM's plan for this nation is to wait and hope for the pandemic to go away. The PNM has sold to our nation that the borders are being managed with strict access. This is far from the truth, as our borders are being operated illegally. Some people are too afraid to say anything for fear of retaliation, and some have submitted to the PNM's way so that they may survive on the crumbs that fall. We cannot merely sit and wait this out. We need the introduction and implementation of a national policy that will guide the resumption of schools, businesses, and reopening of our borders. The generation of Forex should be the government's top priority. Food security must also be a focus. We need direct and drastic injection into the agriculture industry. Job security is next on the list. Tax incentives should be offered to businesses to promote employment and sustainability. We need action and less talk, as my colleague Raquel mentioned. If this cannot be delivered to the nation very soon, then we need a general election, my brothers and sisters. Thank you and good night.
You hear real talk? That is real talk. He was going a little too fast. No, that was real talk. You had to say it fast so that all you will get it. Next on the agenda. Wow. Wow. School teacher, bishop, church bishop are talking about, eh? Local and general candidate, former, for Laventille East and Mofa. Let's welcome vibrant Kareem Beard.
A pleasant good night to, first of all, our political leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, to my colleagues, to the UNC family. I also want to big up, because they say are vibrant, and as a bishop, I want to big up also our General Secretary, who, Mr. Kana, is also from Laventille East Mover. The crowd a little small, so let me give him a round of applause so they go see me live. This is true talk. I can't talk all the truth in the time allocated to me, but I will just give you a few of the true talk from Laventille East Mover. We heard that whole night. The water problems, the water issues, Mr. MP, Mr. Government, who is still sleeping, to Utility Minister, WASA, the people in charge. Wake up for a while. Laventille East, the East-West Corridor, Laventille West, have been without water for days, months. I heard one MP said that is a lie. I could tell you that is not a lie. True talk. Because we had to get a water truck to pay the water truck to full half tank. So Mr. Minister, I want you to check into it for me, please, and just send the water. We need to wash, we need to cook, we need to eat. Unlike you maybe, you have water gushing And then I don't want to talk about the wastage. If it's only a while I could talk about the wastage. We say true talk. The roads, Wassa is leaking. The road's leaking everywhere. It's just water. I can't get it in my pipe, but my car could drive through it very nicely. Thank you. So at least I was able to wash my car tire, not the car. I do thank you. The roads, Mr. MP, I know you was very active in the campaign because you was visiting everyone all after 8, 9 in the night, making sure they're all right. I know now you're going and disappear again, but it's only I'm asking you for a favor. True talk. If you could just pass on the road a little bit and see if your vehicle could last 1 week driving in Lavantelis. I'm just asking you to drive about like how you did it for the election. Just drive about. It's all right. Drive about. The infrastructure. You see, I don't have much time to talk, but I want to get as much truth as possible. On top of the roads, I have a river in Monrepo that my grandmother, she passed away, was going to the councillor office, to the MP office, because remember, you all are in control since Noah was a boy. Now he's an old man grown up. You're still in charge. And the river just keep getting worse and worse and worse. Now she passed away. And the river is still the same way. Councillor asking you for move up, pass and check it. MP Apa asking you, pass and check it. The cries of the people are so real. It's only if you could hear them once again like you are tended to hear them, and quite apparently you heard them to get a vote. Now the vote don't matter because you are where you wanted to be. And we forget the thing and the people that put us there. They are still in need. They still require your presence. They still want your presence. Do they have to beg for your presence? Did you beg for your vote? No, you went very nicely and you asked. Don't forget them. True talk. Don't forget them. Because you don't forget them next 5 years when you need them again. Is it? Or are you planning not to run again? Because the race was a little stiff. Because I mean, I'm the hype man, I work real hard. So I know you was a little scared. But I'm asking you, check into it. We need you. Why we have to now look for you? I sent you messages, I sent you, and so I know what the people are asking for. Because when they come into my inbox, I too are ashamed. I too am ashamed when they are saying, and I have to re-forward them, talk to the MP. I didn't get on to him. I too, looking for you. Please. We're looking at the lack of development. Lavantelis is underdeveloped. For a community that has so much potential, so much growth, and so much work, and so much word, you just let it run down. Apparently, you learned from a former MP, which is now the MP of Lavantel West. Apparently, he counseled you very nice on how to treat Lavantelis, because you are treating it just like him and those that have gone before you. We see you twice. One to ask for the vote, one to ask for the vote. And then we can find you after that. It's time you stop that. It's time that you account and you man up and you actually say, okay, I am going to work. You put me there to work, let me work. I am there to serve the people. Let me serve the people. When you look, I envision as growing up, a young man growing up in my community, a community where no one is left behind, where everybody is equal, where we can grow and go to the savannah and play. But the savannah is so bushy, I afraid snake. And apparently CPEP only working by Parsley Street and Church Street. Because after that, there is nothing else. So it's all right that the rest of the community just grow bush. Come on. Is it your friends and your families alone getting a gang where they could help the people? Come on. True talk. The empty promises. We have heard the promises over and over and over and over and over. And they become so great that we believe the promises. You ever hear a story when does a truth become a lie? And when a lie become a truth? That is the PNM. When they lie so much, then you just have no choice than to believe the lie. Because that is what we have been fed so much times. They can do so much better for a party and for the constituency that never shifted. I said it, they never shifted. They never gave anyone else a chance to do something for the youths. I heard one of my colleagues say, the youths, we youths, I am a youth. And when I look, we see no improvement. I'm looking at the market school, aka Lower Mover, still the same way after our party started the construction of that school. How much years after, that building is the same exact way? And you know the hurtful part about it, Mr. MP and government of Trinidad and Tobago, clearly you're sleeping. The children now have to walk to church on the rock with no crossing guard, no crossing signs at all. So now they have to cross that road to go to school. When are we getting our school? When is Hockett Baptist early childhood center being done? The building, the foundation is just there. Are we doing anything about that? True talk. There is so much to be done. What is on your agenda? Quite clearly it is not the people of Laventille East. Quite clearly it is yourself. I'm asking. It's a disappearing MP. We have a disappearing MP. Come on. It is true talk. And if we the people don't stand at some point in time and stand for something, we will consistently fall for anything. And that is what has been happening, because we don't want to take a stand and believe that our voice and our finger means something to us. We continue to fall for nothing. We continue to allow our generations to receive nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. But I pray to Almighty God that this generation, don't be a sleeping generation, but be a generation that wakes up and understand that we are more than they say we are. We are not just Laventillians. We are just not the Ghettoarians. But we are a people that understands love, compassion, mercy, forgiveness. We are a people that understands we need more. So just don't look at us like we are nothing. Don't just send the police because you could send the police and knock down a door and kick down a door and feel that's okay because we from Laventille. No, treat us just like you are treating anyone else and any part else. Treat us with some love. Treat us with some courtesy. But this generation needs to stand. The true talk is we need to stand up for something. The UNC is here waiting with their arms stretched out wide, saying, come home. Come to something other than nothing. But we have to believe if we take a step forward, we can do something. You can't sit in the back and expect something to happen. We need to move. We need to go. We need to see ourselves somewhere. You can't just see yourself in a one-bedroom house all the days of your life. Yes, Granny left it for us. Not because Granny voted this way, we means we must stay on top the hill in a one-bedroom house with a bad road going down all the days of our life, and we saying we this till we dead. No, at some point in time, somebody need to slap somebody and say, hey, wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. I'm asking you as a Baptist bishop, as I say in my church, wake up, smell the coffee. But I want you just wake up and smell the coffee, and I want you to realize that the coffee burning. I want you just don't wake up, but come off your bed, please. Because we could wake up and stay on our bed and hear the smell the coffee burning and decide and not moving. We need to understand that the coffee burning so black, the house burning down, and your bed burning too. Let me move. Let me get up. Let we understand that it is about our children. We're not doing this for us. Granny, you did your part because I'm telling you, it was good. You saw it. We now here living it. We are living it. So therefore, if we are living it, who feels it?
Yes, my brothers and sisters, listening audience, I know that was true talk. Because you could never be sleeping when true talk going on. Because you have to listen to true talk. True talk is about what is happening. As one of the vibrant